Greetings, mystical masters of the new earth paradigm shift. It is 717 on 3/10/2020. 241 of the Kin Dream Spell Journey. So much energy, information, and connections coming through the field. I'm going to try my best to keep this flowing with all the information and downloads coming in. It's becoming a challenge to be congruent and lucid and quite frankly make sense out of all that's coming in. But what a wild ride it is, we have to admit. At the end of the transmissions, I'm going to tell you all a little story about the 1771, the quarantine energy coming in, what this means, and several other things, maybe even a little history lesson. And with the 17 energy coming in, we had at 1700 UTC a 17 spike in the Schumann resonance. 17s for several days in a row. And in the image today, in today's video, it is from the Dream Spell Journey. And as you can see in the background, the eyes of the eagle were in the blue eagle wave spell, the eagle of freedom. And within the eye, you can see, if the eye's facing forward, the right eye, which is the red, and the left eye, the blue, the red-blue, and the green column in the middle. So the red is like the root chakra, the lower chakra, the green, the middle path, the heart chakra, and the blue, the throat chakra. Also the beginning. See the A, if you look closely, there's an A in the reddish in the right. A for alpha, or beginning, you might even say prime. And the omega for the end, or you might say disclosure. Because in the end, all is revealed through this great disclosure process. May be part of the reason why I named my channel, my website, Prime Disclosure. My main channel is Paul Butler, a character I play in this dream spell, one of the many, and the backup channel Prime Disclosure, just in case if YouTube shuts down another one of my channels. If I go off the ranch again, and then primedisclosure.com is our website, myself and my team, to connect with all of you. And we see the 13 moons of the 13 Baktun cycle, the lunar calendar. Yesterday was the first most powerful super full moon of the new decade. And with the Q energy, many people are talking about, with the 17, the 17th letter of the alphabet, and this Q collective or Q anonymous. Q, there was a lost gospel of Q from the New Testament. Q meaning quell. Quell was a German word for source energy, which many call God, the Creator, Great Spirit, Allah. Many fingers point to the same moon, the moon of enlightenment. You may even say Christ, the Christ consciousness, the original consciousness. And the kin today, 241, it's 241, which is 2 for the price of 1. It's the twin flame energy, the yin-yang connection, the duality connection. And some people are confused about the yin-yang, the duality, which I would like to clarify real quick before we get in our transmission, because I heard it come through an energy today, a voice in the collective, that this concept of light cannot exist without dark, or this duality, or this separation programming, meaning black cannot exist without white, white cannot exist without black. And that's symbolized only in the simulation, the manifestation, not in the source itself. Obviously, the creator, the divine source, the great mystery is beyond duality. And it's what we call love or truth, beyond words, beyond concepts. But the manifestation of the Tao, the way, the truth is through the portal of duality, the red and the blue, the black and the white, the left and the right, the up and the down. And some people speak of the occult, meaning that which is hidden as being evil. Well, obviously, not everything hidden is bad or false. Some things had to hide to protect themselves, but obviously many hidden things are of the nefarious sort. Just like not all 33rd degree Masons are part of the nefarious systems that suppress and enslave humanity. To some, the Masonic order is like a club. I have no connection with the Masons. One of my grandfathers was 33rd degree Mason and would have been called a white hat. Part of his mission was to, out of benevolence, assist humanity of being freed from the Babylonian debt slavery system. So a lot of people that might hear this channel may misconstrue things I speak about because I use New Age concepts, metaphysical concepts, spiritual concepts that might go against their belief system. But truthfully, that is their problem, because everything I do and speak and teach is to assist humanity on freeing themselves from the matrix, from Maya, from the illusion, to wake people up, part of this great awakening, waking up from this dream, the dream within the dream, what many are calling the Great Awakening. Obviously, the Great Awakening is the Ascension, or what many call the Rapture. But I look at this from many different perspectives, many different angles, not just one. And I see it from all angles and perspectives. I'm a witness to all, because I plead no allegiance to any system. We are system busters. And this has nothing to do with what the dark ones or the nefarious ones call the New World Order, or, one world government kind of concept. Obviously, though, that's all nonsense. But I see this as each individual being sovereign and free unto themselves, while still maintaining their connection to humanity and the collective. Not as some kind of drone or some kind of slave system, but as a free, truly free. And if a person cannot comprehend that, then there's nothing we can really do about it but keep putting our message out there. Our message of peace, love, freedom, awakening, because we are all on the ascension process, on the ascension path. And we're doing this for all beings in all realms to finally and ultimately be totally free from all suffering in all realms. So thank you for joining us on this mission and for doing your part and playing your part in this process and mission of the greatest mission ever lived. Now today's first transmission from Divine Sister of the Light, Patricia Cota Robles. What does crossing the 13th gateway mean for humanity? Hello, precious heart. Thank you for joining us for our weekly vlog. The Company of Heaven has shared with us that the divine plan for this decade is for awakening humanity to join forces with the Company of Heaven in ways that have never before been attempted. We are being told that this greatly expanded collaboration will result in raising the consciousness of the masses in a way that will literally empower us to transfigure our earthly bodies and the bodies of the elemental kingdom and Mother Earth into the crystalline patterns of perfection associated with the fifth dimensional new earth, with the God-victorious success of the miraculous events that birthed this new decade. We have crossed the threshold referred to by the Company of Heaven as the 13th gateway. This shift has moved us up the spiral of evolution into the full embrace of the new earth. The Company of Heaven revealed that Earth's ascension through the 13th gateway means we have energetically severed ties with the entire third and fourth dimensional fields of the old Earth. The door to those dimensions has now been closed and is permanently sealed. Mother Earth and all her life have fully entered the fifth dimensional crystalline field of the new Earth now. We have the ability to transfigure our earthly bodies and the bodies of the elemental kingdom and Mother Earth in ways that have not previously existed on this planet. The company of heaven is acknowledging that this information may be difficult for humanity to comprehend with our finite minds. However, our I Am presence is fully aware of this multidimensional, profound truth and will guide us unerringly through this process. We are being told by the beings of light that as we tangibly experience this truth step by step through the unified efforts of heaven and earth, during this decade we will be set free. Our physical bodies and our physical reality will be transfigured into the fifth dimensional crystal and perfection of the new earth. The company of heaven has shared with us information about the significance of the core of purity that exists within the electrons that form our earthly bodies and every other facet of life on earth. This sacred knowledge is a key factor in the divine mission we are being called to fulfill during this new decade. Purity is at the heart of all creation, and it is extremely important that quality must be utilized during this physical transfiguration process. Our Father, Mother, God, and the company of heaven will guide us through this decade. The frequency of purity within the core of every electron vibrates so rapidly that no discord can enter into or contaminate its radiance. The misqualification occurs when we cloak the electrons in vibrations that are not based in love. Every form of pain and suffering is the result of humanity in some time frame or dimension, either known or unknown, placing a cloak of shadow around the electrons within our life force. When we send them forth through our negative thoughts, feelings, words, and actions, our godparents want us to know that every electron is an intelligent form of life that will respond to the command of our I Am presence. Since these many light beings must obey the divinity in our heart flames, we have the ability to speak directly to them and to command through the power of God, I Am, that they continuously and permanently expand the flame of purity, pulsating at their very core. Our Father, Mother, God, and the company of heaven have recently given us an invocation to expand the flame of purity within every electron on earth today. However, due to the need of the hour, they are asking to include this invocation with a brand new aspect of the violet flame of transfiguration. If you have the heart call to do so, please join with me and the thousands of Lightworkers around the world who are empowering this decree with us. We begin in the name of the Almighty Presence of God, I Am, and through the full power of the I Am Presence and the threefold flame pulsating in every heart, I speak directly to the divine intelligence within every electron of precious life energy existing in my earthly bodies and the earthly bodies of all humanity. The elemental kingdom and Mother Earth, blessed electrons through the power of God, I Am. I command that the flames of purity and transfiguration in the central core of our new being now expand and expand continuously and permanently through the power of God, I Am. I direct the crystal and white flame of purity and the violet flame of transfiguration to cast off any shadows cloaking the electrons within my physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies, and the electrons within the physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies of humanity. The elemental kingdom and Mother Earth's sacred flames of purity and transfiguration cast all of these shadows into the violet flame of God's infinite perfection, instantly purify and transfigure every shadow back into its original perfection, raise every rate of vibration which is causing any form of limitation in my life or in the world into the heart-based frequencies of the new, or as the flames of purity and transfiguration quicken the vibratory rate of every electron. I witness every cloak of darkness being cast into the violet flame. All shadows created by humanity's past misuse of our precious gift of life are being instantly purified and transfigured into light from this moment forth through the grace of God. In my I Am presence, I am experiencing the blazing white flame of purity and the violet flame of transfiguration, continuously and permanently expanding and expanding within the core of purity in every electron of precious life energy on earth. I accept and know that through the command of my I Am presence, this purification and transfiguration is being God victoriously accomplished through all dimensions, all timelines, and all levels of consciousness. And so it is. Beloved I Am, that I am. Dear one, focus on what has been shared with us today by the company of heaven. Allow the truth of the sacred knowledge to be revealed to your conscious mind in a clear and comprehensive way during your quiet moments of meditation. God bless you. From eraofpeace.org and the Arcturians through Suzanne Lee, remembering your innate multidimensional self. First, please allow yourself to remember that you have a higher self who resonates to higher frequencies of reality. Then remember how your higher self can align your thoughts and emotions to recognize and create thought forms. As your consciousness begins to maintain a steady connection to the higher frequencies, feel how your body begins to shift in an attempt to stay in alignment with your higher dimensional thoughts and emotions. If your thoughts and emotions are not in alignment with each other, your body becomes confused and is unable to create a steady frequency rate. Therefore, watch for thoughts of limitation or loneliness as they lower your frequency of consciousness. As your frequency of consciousness steadily rises, memories of your true self will begin to arise and send you love and light. This love and light will assist you to expand your consciousness, to have higher dimensional thoughts and feelings. This love and light will assist you to expansion of higher dimensional perceptions. Then you will begin to remember how to recalibrate your consciousness to higher and higher frequencies of your thoughts and emotions. Then you will begin to remember your other incarnations on Earth and on your home world and or starship, which will assist you to better remember your other incarnations on Earth. This will assist you to remember your mission for this lifetime, as well as your innate special gifts that you can share with others. Then you can begin to remember the thoughts and emotions that are in alignment with your mission that you choose to take during this incarnation. Align with this latent energy field within your core to better align with this energy field. Align your own core with the core of Gaia. Feel the safety and comfort of Gaia's core. Align your personal transmutation with Gaia's planetary transmutation and training your consciousness with unconditional love, as well as having unselfish thoughts of serving Gaia and all her inhabitants. Transmutation begins on an elemental level. Align your body with all the elements and 5D elementals who are the gnomes of earth, the sylphs of the air, the salamanders of fire, and the undines of water. Use every inhale and exhale to intermingle personal and planetary elementals. Interdimensional travel. You do not go out or up, you go in and through. In the fifth dimension and beyond, there are no polarities. There are no others in the fifth dimension, as you are one. Your fifth dimensional one is the expression of your own higher self. Fifth dimensional form, wearing a form if you choose. There is no fifth dimensional concept of others. Everyone is an expression of the same oneness, creating your perception. 3D tree, 4D tree, 5D tree. Merge your consciousness with the experience of being beside a tree. Allow your perceptions to follow the dictates of your imagination. Know that your imagination is creating that what you wish to perceive. Perception is creation. You perceive what you want to create and create what you want to perceive. Your desire creates the perceptions that represent that which you wish to perceive. Your state of consciousness dictates your frequency of reality. All realities travel in a circular path of creation, perception, through perception creation. Separation is a third-dimensional illusion. Communications are not made of separate words in sequential order. Within the fifth dimension and beyond, all is within the now of the One. All you could desire, perceive, create, or communicate is within that now with which you are one. From Suzanne Lee, PhD.blogspot.com. And from Judith Kusel, changes are upon us all levels now, and it is going to show up everywhere. I was shown this directly by the high councils from the Pleiades yesterday as they were working intensely with my spinal column and my energy centers. In this regard, we are going through intense upgrading in our DNA as well as our cellular structures. Our bodies are changing with the upgrades at incredible rates, and we need to allow ourselves to rest, to allow our bodies to adjust. Take off some much-needed me time. It is essential and will help to keep you vibrantly healthy. More than this, the capacity of our brains is increasing as certain chambers are being reactivated, which were closed down when Atlantis fell. It will bring in the activation of certain latent or dormant faculties of the brain, and it will help us to navigate through the dramatic earth changes upon us. We are being rewired, revamped, and reinvented on all levels now. Through all of this, remember that our relationships will be going through intense and immense changes too. So many will leave dormant and stuck relationships and find their way into much higher and better suited ones. With those souls they are meant to link up with now, we are in for more and more dramatic changes, so let us be kind to ourselves. From JudithKusel.com. And from the Archangelic Calendar, Gaia absolutely refuses to leave her spirit dominant setting until the event she is waiting for is complete. This is a major multidimensional event that will manifest in various but very dramatic ways. It will include the motions of the Rebel Legion as well. As our light bodies are starting to activate, it is important to realize the subtle differences in the sensations that we may have taken for granted in our previous physical settings. We have inner nudges that dictate actions. One is instinct and the other is impulse. We all know this, but in this place of hypersensitivity, we can dissect their origins much more clearly. Many great thinkers have used many analogies to describe the battle of impulse versus inspiration, such as the two wolves, the false body and the living within your heart analogy to describe this truth, meaning that there are two direct places that feelings come from, and one does not have your best interest at heart. The question that was too big to be answered at previous points in human evolution is, where do these urges come from and why? If we feel what an impulse is, it's an unconscious behavior that takes you for a ride. It's almost as if there is no free will whatsoever in these motions, which is the foundation of addiction and is the literal devil humanity has been chasing since its first dawn. If we feel what inspiration is, it's an energetic response to a direct desire that we have called upon. This energy turns into an emotion that then inspires action in a very grounding and present way. Putting them side by side, it is clear to see that the darkness lays hidden in the unconscious compulsion. This now begs the question of where does this unconscious compulsion originate as it acts against what we thought was its own interests? That would be the parasitic universe that has to overtake our universe's energy signature for its survival. This is a very real situation and is evident in every unhealthy thought that you think. The parasitic universe is siphoning our universe, and because mankind has not been to this level of consciousness before, it has governed over our world for far too long. Nothing naturally can exist in a mode of self-destruction, and thus the negative doings of reality must originate outside of the self by something, with something to gain from the suffering involved. A heavy physical upgrade approaches from the outer cluster of Alpha Centauri. It's a heavily physical upgrade that will hit at precisely the perfect time and place. This specific energy is nicknamed Upgrade X, as it is going to bring upgrades that will seem as if they are out of the pages of a comic book. And today's assignments and tools will be in the link below the description, which you can get to at primedisclosure.com. All the transcriptions of our daily transmissions are archived on our website, so you can follow the link below every video that we put out. And today from Shri and Kara, Namaste, beloved Soul Mirrors community, and welcome to the first of the super full moon energy up-level moments. This is a moment that is calling out to your third chakra. Pay attention to how you are feeling and what you are noticing. The density experience is wanting to capture your attention and will do everything in its power to distract you. There is a clear way through, and once you embody this energy fully and without hesitation, miracles are happening, with such vast momentum that keeping up can be the challenge. This is a rare moment that invites you to really get clear. What do you really want, and are you manifesting it? From ShriandKara.com. And today, from Rick Jewers, a quick request to push excess low density into the red and black pyramids south of the Great Pyramid Complex temporarily. We require the untransmuted energy to be stored there temporarily to act as a grounding agent until we have completed the full activation clearing of the main complex. Those experienced in the relocating of density, please do this. Thank you, love and light, Rick. From Elizabeth Peru, a potent 24 hours for wake-up calls. Are you feeling the powerful self-reflection effect of the first super full moon of 2020? This one is super important and cannot be overlooked. With the sun and moon now directly opposite one another in our skies, and Earth right in the middle, are you being reset, realigned? The past 24 hours have been potent. Congratulations to everyone who has had the wake-up call and have used their personal life situations as the catalyst to a more meaningful life. Has this happened to you? You're not alone. Many souls are cycling up the next level of their evolution right now, and you can too. Today from the Zolkin Times, Kin 241, Red Resonant Dragon. Resonant is the name for the number 7, and its keywords are attune, inspire, and channel. The 7th day is all about adjusting your frequency, tuning yourself in so you may receive wisdom from the universe. We are now right bang in the middle of the wave spell, so a good time to ponder what you've experienced thus far and attune to what you may understand, what steps to take next. It is also a portal day, and so expect a little intensity. Today is Red Dragon, the day that represents rebirth and nurturing. Combine the day and the number, and the result is attune, rebirth, or channel nurturing. To summarize, today is about listening to your intuition in order to find out how best to move forward with a new life, a new beginning. Also consider, have you been taking care of yourself? Do you need nurturing? Look after yourself, and you may feel well enough to find the strength to move forward in your life. And from Christina Papagiorgio, Red Resonant Dragon, Kin 241, 10 March 2020, attuning to divine nurturance. Today we have arrived at the last and final column of the sacred Zolkin calendar. Kin 241 starts to roll out the 20 tribes atop column number 13. 13, of course, is the great mystical number of the cosmos. It holds the frequencies of cosmic consciousness, the goddess energies, natural lore, and the 13 moon calendar. So we are activating the 1320 code for natural time for the next 20 days. The visionary Blue Eagle wave spell ends on March 16, 2020, when we have the power to accomplish our great vision. On March 17, 2020, we commence the last and final wave spell of the Zolkin spin, that of the brilliant yellow star, Lamat, a journey where we are all called to radiate our luminosity through the cosmos as golden, Christed, enlightened starseeds. It has been a long and intense journey this time around, and we are greatly more evolved star beings now. On 29th March 2020 at Kin 260, Yellow Cosmic Sun, we complete another galactic spin on our evolutionary ascension journey. Get ready to shine brightly, precious starseeds. 10-3-2020 equal 13-22 equal 4-4 portal equal 8. 10 manifesting leadership authority. 1 new beginnings. 4 form foundation angelic earth. 8 abundance infinity flow. Kin 241 equals 7 magic spirituality mystic solitude. A much softer, more feminine code today, focused on building a new foundation on love and nurturance. Day 7 in the Blue Eagle wave spell, where we are being asked to fly high and focus on the big picture so that we can create it. Tone of creation, resonant. Tone 7 in the emotional realm. Action inspires, power channels, essence attunement. Day 7 of the Blue Eagle wave spell is the one that helps us to become centered, going within in order to listen and channel wisdom. We are invited to take stock and realign ourselves by attuning ourselves with divine love. When we take care of ourselves on all levels, we feel centered and strong to take off into a new flight. Our first priority is to sufficiently love and nurture ourselves in order to have a strong reservoir of energy upon which to draw upon without feeling depleted. Is your chalice full? Today's question is, how can I attune to the power of unconditional love, channeling divine nurturance to inspire my brothers and sisters? In Lakek Alakin, Christina White, Magnetic World Bridger, Kin 66. And today from the Dream Spell Journey by Volum Votan and Bolognic, Kin 241, the Resonant Channel of Being. Today's Kin 241, Resonant Dragon, 7 Dragon, is a galactic activation portal gap, which is guided by the Master Kin 33. Therefore, it contains a profound significance. Kin 241 opens the last cosmic column 13 of the Zolkin. Therefore, its energy influences the final 19 days of the Zolkin from Kin 242 until the last Omega Kin 260. Kin 241 marks the center resonant chamber of the Eagle wave spell 6 + 1 + 6 = 13. Therefore, the power of 7 rules all the galactic tones of today's oracle 7 + 7 + 7 + 7. The power guide of Kin 241 is the Master Kin 33, Resonant Skywalker, which is the combined power of the co-authors of the Dream Spell, Volum Votan, Kin 11, and Bolognic, Kin 22 = Kin 33. Therefore, today is an auspicious day guided by the power of 33 and influenced by the power of 7. Kin 241 marked the exact midpoint of the dimensional shift 2012 to 2013 in the last 13-year moon cycle. This occurred on 24 January 2013, anniversary 73 of Jose R. Willis, Volum Votan. Thus, the exact midpoint was guided by the Master Kin 33. Number 241 relates to the galactic Maya twins, Pakal and Volum archetypes, and the crystal prophecy of the 5th dimension. This day is contained within the Unit 241, Vector 1313, of the 1919 Crystal Matrix, 19 Matrix, the same Unit 241 that marks the birth date of Pakal Votan. As pointed out by the 19 Matrix, number 241 reads 2 for 1, and it connects Pakal and Volam within the hyperdimensional system of the Crystal Matrix. Volum ascended on day 241, 23 March. Pakal was born on day 241, 23 March. Thus, the Kin 241 of the Dream Spell Zolkin Matrix and the Unit Day 241 of the Crystal Matrix constitute a magnificent example of the interaction between the multidimensional matrices. The transmission from the Votan twins, the cosmic Bolognic, and the crystal prophecy is thus inscribed on the higher dimensional systems. Truth is always inscribed. 10 March 2020, NS1.32.9.4. Kin 241, Red Resonant Dragon, Galactic Activation Portal. The mantra, the code for today is, I channel in order to nurture, inspiring being. I seal the input of birth with the resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by the power of space. I am a galactic activation portal. Enter me. And really feel into that energy of these mantras, these daily mantras. And again, you can find the transcription of every day's transmission in the description below each video, which will take you to primedisclosure.com. So with these energies coming in through this galactic activation, let us know what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're experiencing, your visions, your dreams in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Click on the subscribe button below this video and click the little bell to get the notifications on future updates and uploads. Now with this 17 and 71 energy coming in, I wanted to speak briefly about some of these things going on with these energies, especially with the Q and with the quarantine. One of the things coming through with this energy of being alone or atonement, at-one-ment, aloneness, and this is nothing to do with being lonely or anything to do with fear. This is empowerment, being empowered, being one with Source, with the Quell, with the Q. Now I have an important question, Starseed. Any Starseed, raise your hand if there's ever been a time in your life where all you wanted was just to be left alone, not to be bothered, not to be messed with. I think most of us raised our hand high. And with this energy of being quarantined or solitary confinement, being alone, being left alone, stepping out of the grid, being off the streets, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the streets, because I know the streets and the streets know me. Isn't that right, Jimbo? So this energy of what goes on in the streets and who profits from these things, these mafias, these cartels, the nefarious ones, the dark ones. Let's take a little look at these criminal organizations and how they monetize and profitize the suffering of humanity, all through the things we call addictions. Every addiction known to man is monetized by the nefarious ones, the dark ones, through the mafias, the cartels, the cabals, all criminal organizations. And we see this through many nations, through the Russian Jews, through the Italian mafiosos, the Irish, the Mexican cartels, the political parties. And what are these things that people are addicted to, such as the drugs, the gambling, the alcohols? Now we look at these mafias of the world that started these organizations in places such as Las Vegas to monetize people's addictions, the gambling, the drugs, the monetization of the legal and the illegal drugs. They're the ones that started Hollywood, the music industry, infiltrated all politics, the unions, and anything that controls the narrative of this realm, the mainstream medias of the world, the propaganda machines, such as the medias, the news channels. They either started these organizations or eventually infiltrated them. To this day, they still exist, just like Wall Street was started by these criminal organizations as a form of money laundering. If you really look into this, this is not something I made up. I have friends that have, in the past, they have repented, but in the past have worked for these mafias and criminal organizations. I've talked to thousands of people around the world. I can go on for hours, truthfully, with this information but I wanted to touch on it briefly to let you know that part of what you're experiencing in this collective or in the external right now, with this quarantining energy, with this getting people off the streets kind of energy, if we came out and asked humanity for a week, 7 days, to go within, to not partake in any of these addictions, do you think most humans would have the discipline and the courage to stop these things? That's a good question, because it does take great discipline to not feed the hungry ghost, the angry demon, and the frightened animal, these negative emotions. It takes power, courage, strength, and discipline. Mark Twain was once quoted as saying, "If your vote really made a difference, they wouldn't let you do it." Mark and I would have been great friends. Sounds pessimistic, but in the sense that he was speaking, it is true. And a great mind once said that you don't vote with your pen, you vote with your wallet, with the dollar. What is a person voting for? Are they voting for McDonald's and Nestle's and the Entenmann's? Or are they voting for the whole foods, the natural herbs, the positive supplements, things that enhance their vessel, or things that break it down, like the drugs, the gambling, the pornography, the distractions of the world, all these things that the criminals thrive on, that a large majority of humanity is voting for with their wallets. I say, let us all stop feeding the beast. And look at where many of these quarantines are happening. In China, where's most of the fentanyl coming from that is destroying lives, this epidemic in the U.S. This is not a coincidence. There are no coincidences. This is all part of the multi-dimensional plan of the Earth Alliance. Regardless of who's orchestrating it, the results are going to benefit humanity. So part of this is to stay out of fear, but to educate ourselves. Obviously, there are many viruses, bacterias, parasites that harm humanity. Every second of every day of every year, a human falls dead from some kind of virus, bacteria, parasite. What I teach is the keys to prevention, the keys to strengthening and empowering your most healing potential, your immunity system, your autonomic nervous system, to enhance. In all times, this is not something for some kind of epidemic or pandemic. This is something, a daily practice through the deep breathing, through the meditation, for feeding the body with healthy nutrients and minerals, and every little enhancement we can do to the body, cold exposures, positive thinking, motivations, inspirations, drinking clean, healthy, pure waters, enhancing the waters with ozone, all these little things. And we'll be teaching many of these things through this channel in their future, as long as we can keep it going. I never stop, I never give up. We might have to change in the future to a new channel or to a new, or do it strictly through our website, like some of our other brothers and sisters that have been shut down. I've had channels shut down in the past, so we'll see what happens. But in this time of great awakening, we're going to put out the information to assist humanity. So I looked up with the 17 energy, 1771, and many things happened in 1771. If you look up that year in our history, and one that really stood out was on April 4th. Now there's a global meditation that's being put out through the Earth Alliance for April 4th for the healing of humanity. But on April 4th, 1771, the first quarantines were started in Moscow and St. Petersburg in Russia to fight the bubonic plague. Over the next 12 months, more than 52,000 people died from the plague in Moscow alone. So this is kind of a mirror effect, not to be in fear, brothers and sisters, because The only people that are dying from viruses are the common cold. Someone pointed out that the coronavirus, they saw in an older medical journal that it was a common cold. And the only people that pass on from these viruses and colds are people with really a very weakened immunity. Obviously, day to day, we enhance our immunity with positive reinforcement, doing positive things for our body to enhance it, such as getting good rest, exercise, drinking pure water, supplementation of healthy nutrients and minerals, cutting out processed garbage. There's another addiction, sugar. I've heard psychologists say it's easier to get a human off of heroin than to get someone to stop consuming processed sugars. So to them, in a sense, sugar is more addictive. Now, it might be a perception. Of course, everything's perception, that we don't perceive sugar as harmful as heroin. Obviously, the death process from heroin is quicker than potentially than sugar. Depends on how much you consume of either. Obviously, you consume too much sugar, it can kill you. Consuming too much of anything could potentially bring an end to this organic being. So we're seeing these quarantines in China, Italy, Vatican. What does that make you think of? You know, obviously, the glorification of the Italian mafias in Hollywood has been going on for years and years. I have a friend that many moons ago, in the 70s, he grew up in the Bronx, and one of his best friend's family was in the mafia, and as he became a young adult, they sent him and his friend out to Vegas to run all these scams, and then Hollywood for different missions. So he's told me many, many stories that have gone on behind the scenes. And obviously these criminal organizations are heavily into all forms of human trafficking. That's how these cartels and mafias and cabals made trillions and trillions of dollars over the last, we'll say 300 years or more, 400 years. And if you really research the opium wars out of China, the British were running opium out of Afghanistan. Obviously, the West has occupied Afghanistan for more than 300 years because most of the opium comes from there, running through the Silk Road and then down through Vietnam. That's why the French and the British in America was so interested in Ho Chi Minh Trail. One of the many reasons, because obviously wherever there's drugs, there's human trafficking and prostitution involved. We're not going to get too much more into this because I'm running out of time here. But I just wanted to clarify a little bit of the symbolism, the reason for collectively, and this is multidimensionally being activated. This is part of the process of starving the parasites, not feeding the virus, not feeding, and you can think of this as the virus of the Matrix, which is the miscreation. And this isn't some kind of mysterious demonic thing. This is the corruption of the mind of man based on our past corrupted belief systems, corrupted mindsets, and manipulated perceptions. That's what the Matrix is good at. The construct of the Matrix is good at converting our pure awareness at birth to the three hells, to the suffering, the frightened animal, the angry demon, and the hungry ghost. Never having enough, never appreciating what we have, needing more and more and more. How many more trillions of dollars do these cabals and mafias and cartels need? They don't need any more. Obviously, it's the core of greed, never having enough, the hungry ghost, constantly eating but never being satisfied. Another interesting synchronicity popping up in my news feed, that an interview with, or lecture by Alan Watts, when he was speaking about a big event back in the late 60s, early 70s, he was invited to as a philosopher and a spiritual leader. It was a gathering of some of the top minds around the world in science, geology, environmental, physics and psychology and all these things, they came together to resolve some issues that the collective was seeing in the environment and in the world and in the earth. Many of these having to do with environmental problems, such as pollution and climate change and all this stuff, and problems with ecosystems, the dying off of species of animals, things like that. And he said for days people were screaming at each other and yelling, and this is the problem and that's the problem, and not really coming up with any solutions. And they realized after a couple of weeks of these debates and discussions and putting their minds together that, like most intelligent people and scientists and deep thinkers, that every action, everything you do is a double-edged sword. Meaning anything you do, good and bad, comes out of it, and no human being knows the full consequences or repercussions of any action. That's that butterfly effect. A little butterfly flapping its wings here can cause a tornado halfway around the world based on how events unfold and expand and manifest. So their conclusion after all this was the best thing that humans can do for the earth, for the environment, is to leave her the freak alone. Nature knows better than us. The universe, the cosmos, the Tao, God, the natural way, the healing path, the healing potential, knows much more than any human being or collective. All human minds together does not know better than nature on what she needs to heal. It's to come to a state of homeostasis, of balance. She will always balance herself. And the more we do, the more problems that potentially can come out of it. Now, what we can do is assist by stopping doing ignorant things, stop polluting the oceans, and listen to people like Dr. Walter Russell, who warned the world about nuclear power plants and the radioactive waste that we produce from these machines. He had alternatives, he had solutions, no one listened. He wrote a book, Atomic Suicide, which was all about this. Now, obviously, humans cannot totally annihilate the planet. We don't have that kind of power. But what we can do is assist in making this planet uninhabitable for human life, for humanity to live. I mean, we're very innovative and creative. We can keep things going for a long time. But if we live in non-sustainable ways, and this isn't environmentalism or some kind of ideology or religion, it's common sense. What happens if you cut down all the forests of the world, or you pollute all the waters where you can't even drink it, or kill off all the bees that pollinate all the flowers, things like this? It's like, let's think on a deeper level. We can do things like stop spraying the chemtrails and convert any nuclear power plant to using sustainable ways of heating up water. That's what these things do. They heat water, create steam, and they turn turbines. We can do that with mirrors, with lenses that magnify the sun. Any child in the world knows a magnifying glass to burn leaves and stuff. At least we used to, when we could play and be creative, you know. And this concept of being left alone. When you leave someone alone, it's another word of giving them space. It's not ignoring people. It's like if someone needs their space, we call that sacred space. Give them the space they need. And then listen. That's why people tell me everything when the time is right. Because I come from a place of non-judgment, and I can listen. And people will tell you everything when you're open. Do not judge them for the words they use, and allow them to tell you their story. That's the power of communication. Being a good communicator is all about being a good listener and asking the right questions. So I believe I will end it there. That's just a little tip of the iceberg, which will be releasing more and more information. So just remember, regardless of who's behind this, what we call the fake pandemic, the fear, it is only going to assist the Earth Alliance, the Starseeds, through this great awakening. Because remember, no matter what or who tries to stop this great awakening event, it is impossible. They cannot stop it. Love is one. We're fully activated. There's nothing that the Dark Ones and Nefarious Ones, Reptilians, however you want to look at it, Illuminati, there's nothing they can do to stop this great awakening. We cannot fail. Love is one. Victory to the light. I love you all. Namaste.